Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Ashley Akemi and I'm super excited because this has been officially 1 month since I started my exposure therapy of basically just going outside and interacting and being in social settings and joining groups and doing things by myself and kind of getting myself back out there, as someone who suffers with extreme social anxiety, and doing the inner work and really taking the time out to, correct some past experiences and heal myself. I'm not gonna lie to you, this month has been extremely healing for me, not just with the new people that I've met, but just new experiences that I'm able to adapt into my regular routine. It's so strange that this all happened during Gemini season. I don't know what it is. Gemini season has always been very good to me, and I love me some Geminis. I really get along with Geminis, but also just I keep saying Geminis, but I just feel like the energy of Gemini season is so much about newness and summer and exploratory and a lot of chatting, a lot of talking. If you know a Gemini, all they do is talk, okay? So I think for me, for the month of June specifically, there was just a lot of events that I attended and a lot of different kinds of personalities that I met. And the healing work that I did had a lot to do with me just kind of coming into myself and recognizing that, hey, you too, you have value and you are allowed to be who you are and you're allowed to showcase who you are out into the world. And whoever doesn't like it can go kick rocks, right? But I would say the month of June has been like not a graduation, but like a step into the direction that I've always wanted to go, which is to be my most authentic self. And the problems that I had before in the past was that it's not that I was afraid to be who I was. It was more so when I was in settings that I was myself, it was not taken very well. And instead of me taking myself out of that situation or those settings, I would try to like mold myself into being a version of me that was more acceptable, right? And I decided after my healing that I wasn't going to do that anymore. I was going to show up as myself, and I understand that I'm not for everyone. I'm a unique individual. Let's just say that. So it takes, a real special person and real special people to fuck with me, plain and simple, And I found that in the past, I would be around people that were just not comfortable with who they were. So instead, you hear me talk a lot about energy exchange, and basically sometimes when people are not comfortable within themselves, they will project onto you because in their minds, how dare you feel comfortable with who you are with your quote unquote imperfections, or maybe they have some ideologies of what kind of people are allowed to be a certain way and who aren't. And so I was just attracting a lot of those people into my life. And I think the lesson in that was to separate myself from those individuals, as well as to just show up as myself. So if I meet them and they don't like it, that's not my problem. That's their problem, right? But a couple other things that I tried this month was Pilates. And I don't know what I was thinking because Pilates is fucking hard, okay? It is so hard. And the environment, it could just be the club that I went to. It was giving Mean Girls. It was giving Mean Girls vibe, and I'm just, yeah, that's not for me. The second thing that I tried was far infrared yoga, which was something that I personally didn't think I was gonna like, but I loved it. I loved it. Not only was the club very good, the instructor was good. You sweat, man, you sweat profusely in that. And far infrared sauna, or I keep saying sauna, far infrared yoga is yoga, but you're in a heated room. So you're doing all those little weird poses that they do in yoga. and you're just sweating profusely. Apart from you using your whole body to do those poses, there's a lot of heat being infiltrated in the room to help you to detoxify, basically, right? And it's so strange because yoga is something that I was kind of running away from for so long because I don't like slow. I like to go fast, and I want things happening now. So for my workout routine, I used to do a lot of weight training that I discovered it's not doing what it's supposed to do for me now, as I'm getting kind of older, right? So I have to be mindful that even though it worked very well for me in my early 20s, it's not something that I can do right now. It actually spikes up my cortisol levels, and it makes it a little bit harder. Like it creates a lot of stress for my body. So basically, what I'm doing now is I'm incorporating more yoga into my workout routines and not just weight training. Weight training can be something that I do maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, but I'm gonna do a lot more walking. You know, walking is so good for you. Walking outside or walking on the treadmill and doing the infrared yoga. Another event that I did was I got invited to the racetrack, which was not something I'd be totally interested in, but a friend of mine invited me and I decided to just randomly go. I really was just wanting to spend time with her, but she invited me to this event, and it was really less about the racetrack and more so about the fashion. And I'm not really a fashionista, but it was a good experience to be around other groups of women, which I think for me has always been a little bit of an issue because I don't know, I always had this idea that other women did not like me, right? It could just be the experiences that I had in the past where, you know, just had a lot of mean girl energies around me. So, but it was a good event. I did meet a 1-2 girl that was, you know, we were on the same wavelength, you know. I like women that are very warm and very welcoming. So I got just that, right? So apart from the racetrack event, I also got invited to see the ballet, like to watch a ballet show that I thought I was going to love, but I actually hated it. Now, for someone like myself, I did ballet for about 4 years when I was much younger. I remember my mom enrolled me in that ballet class because, you know, I think a lot of mothers, a lot of parents, you enroll your kids, your daughters into ballet to help them with, you know, being more poised and more graceful and more, you know, light in their step. It is something that a lot of girls are kind of forced into to help them be more you know, connected to their bodies. So anyways, I say that to say I went to my first ballet show and it was not what I thought it would be. I thought I would enjoy it, but I was really bored. I was bored out of my mind and I couldn't wait for that shit to be over. No shade if you like the ballet, it just was not my cup of tea. However, they did have an opera singer that I thought was very entertaining. If it wasn't for that woman, I'd be sleeping. Okay? But yeah, so I went to the ballet. What else did I do? I did something else that I can't remember. But just to wrap up this video, I just wanted to clarify that, you know, a part of exposure therapy is to go outside and to challenge yourself and to put yourself in environments that would make you feel very, you know, unnerved and very much tackling your inner demons. So I know for me personally, I did not like being in social settings because I did not want to be criticized or for people to perceive me or just to have to deal with people's, you know, projections. And during my healing work, because like for healing, the first half of healing has to do with being by yourself and really looking at your past and your memories and your experiences and how it affected you, and, you know, getting grounded in who you are and accepting who you are, and a lot of self-love and a lot of self-care, right? And the other half is to expose yourself to those very those very experiences that kind of held you back in the past, you now have to kind of push yourself in those settings and see, okay, how have I been? Like, have I healed from it? Do I need to go back to the drawing board? So for me, this month was very much seeing where I was in that sense. Do I need to go back and heal, or am I on the right path? So I feel like I'm going in the right direction, and I'm proud of that, because it's taken me quite a long time to get to where I want to be. And I'm not there 100%, but I'm getting there, you know? As long as I'm going into the direction that I want to be in, that's good enough for me, because part of this journey is also learning that slow and steady wins the race. If you are fast paced like me and you want shit happening now, I think the biggest lesson is learning that the journey is not something that you can rush. You have to take your time. And, you know, if you failed, don't look at it as a complete failure. Look at it as, okay, I need to brush up on this, or I need to work on that. That's just how you need to look at things. So anyways, I say this to say, my 30-day of exposure therapy has been going pretty well. However, I realized another issue that kind of came up for me was balancing my social life and my personal life, because your girl was doing so much drinking. So much drinking. I fell off with my eating habits. You know, I wasn't really saying much to anyone, but I weirdly stopped eating meat, and I was just kind of just eating more, I'm not gonna say plant-based, but I just was not really eating a lot of meat, and I was doing good. I was doing really good. And then by mid-June, I fell all the way off, because, you know, when you're drinking alcohol and you're going out and your cravings and all these things, and, you know, you fall into bad habits. So my next goal for the month of July is to balance the two, where I'm not just going out and drinking alcohol all the time, but learning how to balance, you know, my social life, which is also learning to not go to every event that I see, because I think I went from going nowhere to wanting to go everywhere. So, and learning what events are more suitable for me and what events I should just, no, it's a hell no for me, right? Because some of the events that I went to, I could have done without them, you know, and the next day I was just so drained and exhausted. And I'm also very introverted. And I know that might be surprising for people that know me in real life. They're like, what? You're introverted? But yeah, there was just so many events after, where the next day I was just so tired and exhausted that it went on for some events. It went on for like 2 days and 3 days, where I had to just really just be by myself. So I'm learning within that 30-day exposure just what to do, what not to do, and what to say no to, and what to say yes to. And that will be my next course of action. But anyways, if you made it to this, you know, this far of the video, this end of the video, my rant, thank you for listening. But let me know if you're also on this journey of exposure therapy. How has it been going for you? I mean, I'm really wanting to see what everybody's experience has been when it comes to putting themselves back out there. And if you have any tools or suggestions, I'd love to hear from you. But in the meantime, guys, I hope you have an amazing day today. Peace.